You can go first.
Okay. Hello, my name is Grace Tate. I'm majoring in Health and Human Services. I'm a rising junior, and I've been a part of the peer mentor program for a few months now.
Hello, I'm Kamara. I'm a rising senior majoring in Health and Human Services, and I've been a part of the Mental Health and Wellness Peer Mentor program for about 9 months now. And today we're going to learn about chakras.
I think this is the most I've been excited of a workshop. Like, I'm really so pumped up for it. Okay, but we can get right into it. So I'm going to share my screen because we have a little PowerPoint. Oops. Can you see good?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, then as always, like if you can't hear me and Kamara, put in the chat box. In all your chats, go to only us. Oops. All right. Oops. So the history of chakras. Chakras are conceived as a focal point where psychic forces and bodily functions merge with and interact with each other. So there are 88,000 chakras in the human body, but we're really going to focus on 7 of them. And those are probably the 7 that you guys are familiar with and that you see on the diagrams. But the 88,000 chakras are all found throughout your body. It's prominent in the oculist psychological practices of certain forms of Hinduism and forms of Buddhism. And early Sanskrit texts focus more on visualizations of combining flowers and mantras, while modern interpreters focus more on electromagnetic variety. So usually that's why when you see diagrams of chakras, you see kind of like the waves going around the body, like kind of in this photo. You see how like energy is coming from the body. That's kind of like the more modern interpretation of chakras.
Okay, so the chakras that we will be focusing on today, we're going to focus on the 7, like Grace said. 7 is actually a symbolization of balance. If you're into zodiac signs, Libra is a 7th sign, and as you know, Libras represent finding that balance. But so the 7 are the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. And also, if time is given, we can do this quick meditation.
We can do it. You can do it now. Ooh.
So during this meditation, you don't it's kind of not traditional. You kind of want to focus on the colors instead of closing your eyes.
Oh, snap. Can you hear it?
No.
Website.
Wait, yes.
Online is the easiest way to get the ball rolling, and the easiest way to build a better website in under an hour is with GoDaddy.
Alrighty, can you hear me well?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I just asked if you could hear me.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
So that was really nice meditation.
It's kind of like a visualization where you basically envision the colors of the chakras as a way to activate all 7 of the chakras. But now we're going to get into the specifics of what each chakra represents. We're going to start from the bottom and make our way to the top of your head.
So the first chakra, could you, I'm going to echo back. Can you see if muting helps? Okay, thank you. So the first chakra is the root chakra, and what does it do? It represents our foundation. It gives us the feeling of being grounded. When the root chakra is open, we tend to feel confident in our ability to withstand challenges and stand on our own 2 feet. But when it is blocked, we feel threatened, as if we're unable to stand on our ground. So keywords are I am, and it develops between the ages 1 to 7, and it controls our survival issues such as financial independence, money, and food. You know what chakras kind of remind me of? Like, it was in psychology, but especially the root one, where you have to feel grounded to like your hierarchy of needs, basically. And that kind of makes sense. Like, you have to start feeling grounded at a younger age.
Our next chakra is the sacral chakra, which is represented by your navel, your groin area. The color is orange, and it governs our abundance, pleasure, sexuality, and creativity. The ages it's said to develop between is 8 to 14. So a little background about the ages. Since these are 7 chakras, the 7 is kind of the general trend. So every 7 years, a new chakra will basically begin to develop and be more prominent in your life. Like, for example, from ages 21 to 28, you're going to develop your heart chakra, which means that there's going to be more awareness. You should be working on your awareness of that part. So the key words to the sacral chakra are I feel. That's just a general way to remember what it represents. It represents how you feel about your sexuality, how you feel about your creativity, how you approach things. Do you get overly indulged in things, or do you completely flee away from things and feel shameful about things? It helps, once again, the keyword I feel, to relate to your emotions, the emotions of others, your creativity, your sexual energy. It's very common in society, especially off of social media, to feed into what the social media feeds us, which is very, very highly sexual, but you need to do what you feel is best for you. So that's kind of what the sacral chakra is about.
I was muted. The next chakra is the solar plexus chakra, and usually people are more familiar with this chakra. So it speaks to our ability to be confident and control in our life. If your solar plexus chakra is blocked, you might feel overwhelmed or have a sense of self doubt or shame. It develops between the ages 15 to 21. The keywords are I do, and it focuses on your self worth, confidence, and self esteem. And I feel like, especially around the ages of 15 to 21, it's kind of like you're discovering who you are and discovering like what makes you more confident or self worth. So I definitely see that around these ages. I don't know. I'm just trying to connect it to my life.
So the next chakra is the heart chakra. It is represented by the color green. Its location is literally where your heart is at. It represents love, joy, and inner peace. And as I said earlier, it does develop between ages 21 to 28. The keywords to represent it are I love. It is associated with our ability to give and receive love from others. So, for example, if you have, when we get further down, we'll get into this, but if you have an overactive heart chakra, you tend to be a little bit too dependent, a little bit too giving, whereas if you have an underactive heart chakra, you tend to be too closed off. It really serves as a way to experience deep and true compassion.
Then also someone with a blocked heart chakra, they will have difficulty fully opening up to people in their life. But if their heart chakra is open, they will experience, as Kamara was saying, deep compassion and empathy. Oh. So the throat chakra, but you can guess where that is. The throat chakra gives voice to the heart chakra and controls our ability to communicate our personal power. So it really focuses on communication, self-expression, and truth. Keywords are I speak, and it develops between the ages 29 to 35. When it's functioning at its full capacity, it allows us to express ourselves truly and clearly. Someone with a blocked throat chakra will feel as if they're having trouble finding their words to say how they truly feel.
Our next chakra is our third eye chakra, which is located literally right in between your eyebrows. Its color is represented by a deep blue and indigo, and it really controls your third eye is really your intuition, your spirituality, your imagination, your wisdom, your ability to see, keywords I see, your ability to see things for what they truly are, not what may be not what may be subjected upon you from other people's opinions, if that makes sense. It controls our ability to see the bigger picture. It aids in visions, intuition, and it's not uncommon for someone with the third eye chakra to basically have spiritual messages that they're seeing through visions also.
So next is the crown chakra. It controls our inner and outer beauty and spiritual connection. It develops between the ages 43 to 49. And the keywords are I know. The crown chakra sits at the highest top of our head, crown, and it allows us to be fully connected spiritually. When you fully open your crown chakra, which some people rarely do, you're at your highest level of consciousness. And again, this is just, I don't know, it just, speaking from a psychology background, it reminds me of like the hierarchy of needs. When you reach the highest crown chakra, you're at your highest consciousness. I don't know, that's how I kind of think of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like the crown chakra really represents basically your higher self, which is kind of difficult to reach. So next we get into underactive versus overactive. So your chakras can be underactive, overactive, or where they're supposed to be just open. When a chakra is underactive, you may feel anxious, fearful, jittery. You may be overindulging in something, or you may even be hiding too many things. When it's overactive, you may have excessive daydreaming, poor concentration, complete dissociation of life. An example of an underactive chakra would be the root chakra, which is kind of difficult to develop. It is our first chakra. When we start from the bottom, you may feel anxious and not secure at home. The root chakra is all about being grounded. So an example is someone bumps past you and that ruins your whole mood. That would be an example of an underactive root chakra. Just being able to see someone bump past you and just allowing it to not ruin your day and not getting mad over minor things would be an open root chakra. An example of an overactive root chakra would be your heart chakra, which would be placing others' needs before you, being a little bit too dependent on other people to the point which you're not putting yourself first, which is going to end up harming yourself in the long run because your emotional needs aren't being fulfilled.
Really well stated.
Thank
you. I swear you're teaching me some stuff. So methods to balance our chakras, definitely meditation. Good Vibes by, what's that?
Binaural Beats. So that is a YouTube channel that I just recommend if anyone's interested in quick meditations. You can sleep with those. You can do them in the morning. You can do them throughout your day. It's just something that helps aid in opening up your chakras. Or there was one on emotional healing that I listened to last night. And if your heart chakra is too overactive, you can listen to the emotional healing. That way you're able to heal any situation that you may have been taken advantage of in. Did you want me to go down to crystals?
Sure.
I love crystals. I'm sorry. So crystals.
I could tell by the way you were looking at it. I was like, I feel like she's about to ask.
Oh my! I love crystals. So crystals is a great way to balance out your chakras. I have one in my hand right now. I have the rose quartz, which is good for your heart chakra. And then if you're trying to work on your root chakra, there's like black obsidian, there's tourmaline. If you're trying to work on your third eye is representative of purple, so you might want amethyst. You can also Google what other crystals you would like to use, but crystals are just an easy way, I feel, to work on your chakras because you can carry them around anywhere. And it's not necessarily time consuming. It's just something that you take with yourself through your everyday life.
You know what they actually sell, which I didn't know? They sell like water bottles with crystals in them, like glass water bottles, like real authentic crystals. And I want to get one so bad.
I didn't know about that either.
Yes, I should have left the link in the PowerPoint. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I've it's just certain crystals that you can't drink with, like I've seen people put crystals in their water, but it's certain ones that dilute in water, so you have to just be careful about that.
Yeah. I thought you want to you can finish the rest.
Oh, okay. So the next one is essential oils. So frankincense, would be a great oil for your crown chakra. Lavender would actually be a great oil for your throat chakra.
Mm-hmm.
And this is once again just another easy, quick way. You can actually combine all three of these. So if you want to light an essential oil and then you want to carry a crystal while you're meditating, that would be a great way to balance your chakras. The next being affirmations. So this is once again a very simple daily thing that you can do. So simply saying, I am worthy, I am lovable, I am grounded would be a great way to not only start your morning, but a great way to balance out your chakras. You can also look up, you can make your own mantra for whichever chakra you're trying to balance, or if you're trying to balance all of them, you can look up chakras that are for all 7 of them. For the next one would be foods. So eating purple foods, for instance, if you're working on your crown chakra, you want to reach your higher self, eating purple foods would be a great way to balance and reach that chakra. However, do not eat, but it's not necessarily the greatest to eat processed food. When I say purple food, like eggplants, maybe onions. If you're eating green things, maybe green onions for your heart chakra, but not necessarily candy. Clothing wise, clothing also ties into food. Wearing purple clothing for your crown chakra, wearing red clothing for your root chakra, wearing green clothing. When you wear these things and you eat these things, you have to have the intention as well, not just wearing them and just being like, oh, this is going to balance my chakra. You have to have the intention to work on whatever chakra you're working on. That way it will, putting the intention out will help manifest the chakra opening up more. And then just daily life tip, your surroundings. If you're surrounded with someone who's making fun of the fact that you're trying to open your chakras, that's not going to help you open your chakras. Like, if you're surrounded with people who are draining you, that's going to make it a lot tougher to balance and open your chakras up.
I just want to say, I'm not going to go on a rant, but definitely the food part just hits so close to home. And I feel like we need to do like a nutrition PowerPoint or webinar now, because what you eat and what you ingest is connected so much, like the way you feel, not only like physically, but mentally and spiritually. So that's like when you were saying eating eggplant or just things that can give you the most maximum energy, and energy is so connected to chakras. It just makes so much sense. And then same with your surroundings, like who you interact with, they're the ones who affect your energy and like your mental health. So like if someone, even if you're not like hearing them like speak negatively on you, just having that in your personal life and feeding energy, because they're both so connected, is just, I'm not about to go on a rant, but those two just hit so close to home. Okay, so now let's check our chakras. So checking our chakras, this takes, like Kamara was saying, how what we learned, how some chakras take years, every 7 years to kind of like learn and develop. But there are ways to like check what chakras need work on, and it's definitely like a practice. Even like I feel like meditation is a practice that you need to kind of like learn and get into. But this was actually like a quick way to check what chakras you may need working on. And I forgot who taught me it, but it was some event on campus, and she came and taught us this meditation, and I just thought that we need to share it today. So this meditation is a form of pranayama, prana meaning life force, and ayama meaning to restrain or to draw out. It refers to breathing exercises which clear the physical and emotional obstacles in our body to free the breath. And a lot of pranayama exercises actually come from India, and as we were learning like Hinduism and Buddhism. So you're gonna start by putting your 2 fingers on your like third eye. Yeah, okay. Then if you can't see me or something, just let me know. Then you're gonna like put your thumb on one side of your nose, like this. And that's when you breathe in. So breathe in for 5. And then you're gonna hold for 5. And then when you breathe out, you let go of this thumb, and then you put your other finger onto your other nose like this, and you're gonna breathe out for 5. So breathe in for 5, hold, and then breathe out for 5. So it's also called alternative nostril breathing. And we're kind of running low on time. I don't want to sit and do the full thing today. But to check your chakras, you're supposed to do with your eyes closed in like a low, dim room. So, because I feel like when you close your eyes, like you can kind of see light. Like when I close my eyes now, I see red. But like if you do it in a low, dim room, you really don't see anything. And then after you do that, like a certain amount of times, breathing in and breathing out, that's when you're supposed to see like a color. Do you know this color? I feel like
no, but I'm really interested.
Oh, that's like when you start to see the color. That's supposed to be like the color of what chakra needs tuning. So also like when you keep doing the practice, you can increase your number of like how long you hold your breath. So you can start to breathe in for 10 seconds and hold for 10 seconds and breathe out. And actually, the girl who was I should say woman, the woman who was teaching me this, she said that she can go to like holding her breath on, breathing in for over a minute. And like through time, you could just keep doing it. And it's supposed to like really heal you internally as well as like checking your chakras. And she was also saying that I think she was paralyzed from like the waist down. And like when she was doing Western medicine, nothing was really helping her. But then when she went back to India and she was doing this technique of breathing in and breathing out, she actually like healed her legs fully. So, yeah. Well, alternative medicine. That's the word for it. But yeah. I mean, we can do it a little bit now if you want to. But I feel like that's something you really need to do by yourself in a closed, dark room. And really just focus to see your chakras. But yeah. Do you know any good I should ask you this beforehand. Do you know any good methods to like check your chakras? This is the only one I really know.
So I actually there is a quiz that I was gonna show on the next slide. But
okay.
Yeah, in addition to that, I don't know if anyone is really into it, but you can check out your tarot cards. I don't know if anyone has ever gotten into tarot cards, but they would give you that spiritual message of what you need to work on. But an easier method than learning how to do tarot is the quiz.
Yeah, that's definitely. Actually, I have to. Well, I'm looking at tarot cards right here because I do have some, but they say, well, at least this is what my mom told me, like you're supposed to only use your own tarot cards and not like use someone else's. I don't know. That's just a quick thing. Because I feel like when people use tarot cards, like they do it for fun, but you're really supposed to like focus in on your own self. So that's kind of like a warning before doing it. Well, let's do this quiz because I'm excited. Is this it? No, this is
It's that one, yeah. So I'll drop the link in the chat box in case anyone is interested. So that's gonna be your personal quiz.
56 questions.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Did you want to do it now? Or I could just show people how to.
Oh, actually, there's an easier one. I mean, there's an 8-question one if you want it.
Okay, we can do that one.
It's called chakras.info.
Oh yeah, this is really intuitive. So chakras.info.
Go to the go back up and go to the chakra test. And then it's just a quick 8-question one. So actually I'm gonna go ahead and take it to
Why is this not? I'm trying to leave it in the chat box, but oh, here we go. Zoom's kind of acting wonky. Okay, I'm gonna do mine on my phone. I feel like I have to Google this word.
So when I took it, I got sacral chakra. Is that
Which one?
It's starting to work on my sacral chakra.
Oh, dang, you're fast.
Oh no, don't rush.
I will not hesitate to speak my truth, even if it means I'm in conflict with someone. I feel like I'm truthful. Okay, I'm almost done. Oh, now I can put my name, email. Ooh, I got heart chakra. Okay. I definitely see like through the quiz though, how it was saying like key words for each chakra. So like finance, spirituality, speaking your mind, I definitely can see it. All right. Oh, and then this, oh no. This link right here is basically speaks to what we were saying in our PowerPoint.
Yeah. It could be, is it that your heart chakra is overactive?
That's like when you're like super compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, yeah. Because I know I did put somewhat, I was putting somewhat agree on a lot of those. Like, you tend to like, if someone else is like in pain, you tend to like feel their energy. I think it was that question. I put somewhat agree on that one. Because I'm a really intuitive person. That's just the Scorpio in me. But like, I can really tell like if someone else is having a bad day or like how they're feeling. Especially when like it's someone I really love.
Definitely, yeah. So maybe just like, yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what chakra Scorpio is?
No?
I think it's sacral.
For what? I'm sorry.
I think it's sacral.
I think it is too. Yeah, it is. It's sacral on the solar plexus.
What's Cancer?
I think we might be heart.
I could see that. If I had to guess one.
Oh no,
third
it's
eye.
third eye. It's third eye. I was gonna say that next because they always say like cancers are really intuitive.
I can see that. I feel like we need to do a zodiac sign.
We should.
I wish we did that next week. Okay. Thanks for coming. Please remember the chakra healings in your chakra. Oh yeah.
Yes, and please, please, please try to meditate. Even if you're just playing it in your sleep.
And then next week, Monday is the writing letters to yourself, your past self.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday is what color is your personality?
Yep.
Then probably the week after that will be the zodiac one. Yeah. That's it. See you next time.
See you.